Thank
So,
you.
how are
But
you
yeah,
doing?
that's cool. I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well.
And
Yeah.
how's business and
Um, Business is an ebb and flow,
yeah.
but and I'll talk about this today. I transitioned from all of my shows being canceled into my shows. The first 4 shows that I had scheduled for 2021, they've already canceled as
Oh
well.
gosh.
So I already had an e-commerce site.
Mhm.
I just wasn't pushing it a lot. And now, since the pandemic, I've been pushing my e-commerce site, and then I've been doing um, Zoom shows.
Mhm.
So I take people through my studio. They get to see my studio one-on-one or as a group, and then that's generated a lot of sales that way.
Oh wow, that's really smart.
Yes. So I started doing that back in April,
Okay.
and it's worked out. It's been great. It's been great. I try to do one at least once a month.
Mhm.
And with Christmas here, I said, well, I could do it a couple different times, but I'm not going to do that. I've already had it. I did it back on the 4th, and I'll just continue to update my website, update my social media, and just try to tell people, I've just added some new pieces. Go out to my website and see, so I can track. That way I can track everything
Yeah.
through my site. I can look at the analytics and see how long people are staying on my website, where they're coming from, if it's Facebook or Instagram or direct dial in.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm a one-man shop.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we do it all.
So is your studio at your home, or am I remembering correctly? Do you have a studio at Interurban, or did you?
I do. I do. I have 2 studios. I'm in my home studio right now,
Mhm.
and then I have a studio at Interurban,
Okay.
which looks just like this studio.
Is it?
Yeah, so all the shelving that I have here on the wall
Mhm.
is just like that at Interurban.
Oh wow.
So I wanted it to mimic a showroom. So
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
it does.
That's super smart.
Yeah.
Have you been able to get into your studio over at Interurban?
hmm
That's
I have. I have. We beginning of the pandemic that we're asked to stay out.
good.
But now it's you can go into your studio. Just don't linger in the open area in the foyer.
Yeah.
Goes directly to your studio. And I've met some clients at my studio. The month of November, I had photo shoots inside of my studio.
I saw that on social media. Was that on Instagram, I think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what
That's
I did
cool.
was I sold $100 for photos and to get to wear at least 2 of my runway large pieces. And I think I sold maybe 20, 23, 24 spots,
Wow.
which was great. So I split it 50-50 with the photographer.
Hmm. Oh,
So it was good. So since then, he's already come up with some ideas, and we're gonna play around this weekend with some
oh, that's
ideas.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an interesting paradox because, artists have been hit so significantly during the
Yes.
pandemic.
Yes.
And on the flip side, and I don't say this lightly because I know everyone is struggling, but also artists, are so entrepreneurial that
hmm
there's been a lot of creative ideas nowhere
Oh
near what
yeah.
you need to sustain yourself in what would be a normal, quote unquote normal year. But it's just been
Sure.
to see, how people have responded in such unique and creative and entrepreneurial ways is really interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of if you didn't buy into what's going on, you were able to do a pivot. You were able to
Mhm.
take a break, breathe, because otherwise I wouldn't have had a break. I would have been rolling from one thing into the next. And the virus allowed me to stop, rethink some things, and then just do a pivotal shift. Okay, what do I need as a full-time artist?
Mhm.
Because you got to remember, I've only been a full-time artist for 3 years.
Oh
So
yeah, I do remember, which is hard to believe. Just with so how prolific you are, and you
thank
have such a
you.
presence on social media that I think it feels like you've done this for a
hmm
very long time.
and that's what it feels like. A lot of people think that I've done it for a long time, but I've been designing for 13 years. But I had my corporate job of 19 years, I had that large income, and then to go to working for yourself full time, I knew what I needed to make, and then go into a pandemic. Okay, so now let's really rethink
Right.
this and get creative. So a lot of my colleagues and other artists are like, Clarissa, how are you doing that? How are you? Because I want to stay relevant. I want to stay in front of people. I want to stay on people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the earrings I'm wearing today, these are made out of shells that I picked up off the beach.
Oh, wow.
And then I did gold leaf on the inside. So it just changes your whole dynamic, your thought process. And right now I'm trying not to buy supplies. I do have a supply list that I need to fulfill, but I'm also looking at things that are in my studio of what can I do with what I have.
Yeah.
And then other artists have been kind of reaching out that are in a worse situation than me, and I've been able to share some of my supplies with them.
Oh, wow.
And that's community.
Yeah. Excuse me, just a second. I'm going to get us over to Facebook.
Okay.
And Allison gave me instructions, so hopefully I don't mix it up. All right, let's try this again. Okay. I think we are live.
Good job. You did a great job.
Well, let's get through this first, and then then we can see if I did a good job.
Okay. Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. And I'm Sarah Van Landite. I'm the Executive Director for the Arts Council of Johnson County. Normally, you would see Allison Bowman, our Administrative Assistant, but I am pitch hitting for her and hopefully not screwing this up terribly. And with me is Clarissa Knighten of Rissa Artistic Design. And Clarissa, you're here to talk about your creative practice and your design. So I will let you introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Clarissa Knighten. I am, as Sarah said, I am the owner of Rissa's Artistic Design. I had a corporate background for 19 years. I worked corporate America. I was an IT analyst, quality analyst, and then I also worked in broker commissions. So I dealt a lot with numbers. I love numbers. And then 3 years ago, I made a transition to be a full-time artist and work for myself.
Wow, that is a pretty significant transition.
It is.
Going from numbers to being an artist.
Yeah. It is, but there's numbers in my jewelry, so I'm still affiliated with it.
Right. So have you always made jewelry or wearable art in your studio?
Yeah, I have. Many years ago, when I got started, my doctors wanted me to do something different with my hands. I battled with depression and had battled with bulimia as well. And when jewelry was birthed, it was just something else to do. I was a charcoal artist. I have not picked up charcoal, but maybe one time in the last 13 years. But for a other usage, I use charcoal to sketch out nightmares and just weird things like that. But when I started off making jewelry, I did not realize that it was going to turn into wearable art. It was really small and simple, strong, and then it got larger and larger. And then when I went to the runway is what really struck me, that you have to create in a large form so people can see it from a distance. And by doing that, it kind of led into, I'm really into some sculptural art now, where a lot of my pieces are wearable, but yet you can also display them in your home as an art piece.
Um, and that's right. I'm remembering your bio, and you have been involved with the fashion show here in Kansas City. So what
I
has
have.
that been like? I mean, that's pretty got to be a
Well,
pretty extraordinary experience.
it is an experience. I was involved with Kansas City Fashion Week, West 18th Street Fashion Show, and then Omaha Fashion Week as well. And what I learned was, again, making that transition from everyday wear to a runway to a larger piece. And when you're involved with runway, you have a lot of other aspects to think about. You have their makeup, their hair, their clothing, the music that you want them to walk to. How do you want them to walk? How many men you're going to have? How many women? How many children? So all of these dynamics came together, and I have been able to really grow as an artist from that experience alone.
Well, and that feels like a good transition to talk about, ask you to speak a little bit about your work as an entrepreneur. I mean, we were kind of talking before we went live, this year in particular has been an extraordinary year, um,
Yes.
especially for individual artists. So, how are you what is it like for you as an entrepreneur, and how are you, kind of managing um, the opportunities, challenges, all of those things?
Sure. Sure. As an artist, for me right now, I already had, before COVID, I already had a e-commerce site. So a lot of artists had to transition and build a site during COVID. I already had that. I just wasn't, and I wasn't utilizing it as best as I could. I wasn't advertising it as best I could. So when COVID happened, I started focusing on growing that line of my business. I have to admit, when the shift happened in the universe here, it did push me to grow because I was able to do some things different. All of my shows are canceled. Every single show I had was canceled. Shows into 2021, 4 shows into 2021 have already been canceled. So I had to think, how do I sustain myself as an artist, as a full-time artist? And that is utilize technology, utilize the Zoom, the Facebooks, all the social media platforms, utilize all of that. Um, Interurban had some classes about the website. So I took those classes. And so I learned what the bounce rate means and what different things and how to read my analytics. Because honestly, again, prior to COVID, I was vending all the time. So I really didn't look at, if I had a sell from my website, great. But I never really looked and dug into those numbers to see where the traffic is coming from. I've had that opportunity, so I've been pushing that. So for me, I tried not to, of course, I got a little bit down because of all the shows being canceled, but I had to pivot. And again, as a full-time artist, you don't have time to wallow. You have to keep moving and think creatively of what you can do next. And that's what I believe a lot of us have done. And I again, there's highlights. The highlights are, I'm at home. I can come down to the studio whenever I want. I don't have to drive anyplace. But again, it's to keep myself working and continue being creative. And some things that I had not ever thought I would be working on, I'm starting to work on now. So that's been nice as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of answered this, but I know we wanted to talk to you or get your insight about how COVID has affected, your vendor shows, and how you're managing that too. And
Yeah. So COVID, we had to, all of us that vend, we all stopped. So you had to think about, prior to COVID happening, were you capturing emails? Were you talking to your clients? What were you doing as far as your marketing was concerned? And if you weren't doing anything, now's the time to do that. If you had been capturing them and not done anything with it, now's that time to say, hey, I'm still here. I still have things for you. Me being in the jewelry industry, a lot of my clients were going into the office. Well, they're working from home now. So I just had to say, hey, let's do a show. Show me what wear to work today. Shoot me a picture of what you wear to work today. And I could see, oh, they're on a Zoom call, but they didn't have a Rissa's artistic design piece on. Let's fix that. So a lot of my clients are now, again, we had to get creative with it. And if this lasts till next year or midsummer, how will we maintain? What will you do as far as your sales are concerned? When you become an entrepreneur, we wear all the hats. I'm everything. I am my marketing, I am my production, I am my CPA. Everything falls on me unless I've been blessed with extra finances to hire that stuff out. I'm my own photographer. So yeah, you just, as an entrepreneur, we take everything on until we are financially sound enough to piece it out to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you do piece it out, and you might have to piece it out for a little while, 6 months or so, and say a CPA, and then they give it back to you because they now have you in a structured format that you don't need them as much. You still need them, but not as much as you did before. So when you step into the entrepreneurial role, you've got to remember everything more than likely will fall on you. So how are you going to manage your time without becoming overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I make lists. I like lists. I like a checklist because there's a satisfaction that I get when I can cross an item off the list. There's a satisfaction that I get when another artist reaches out to me, or I've been donated or gifted with a lot of boxes. Who else can I share these boxes with? That's the way my mindset is I'm going to, even prior to COVID, I was sharing the abundance that I had with others. And it comes back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And I am a fan of lists myself. I think that it's the only way I stay organized.
Yes.
Well, as we were talking about your designs, I was noticing your beautiful earrings. And is that one, are those your own design?
So these were made by me, and they are, I'm gonna put it right up in the camera here. So they are actually seashells. They came down the runway back in September for Kansas City Fashion Week.
Okay.
So back in January, I was at Daytona Beach and walking down the beach, and I'm picking up shells. I only picked up shells that had holes already in them. And my friend said, what are you going to do with all those shells? I don't know, but I'm going to do something with them. And so this is what came out. And the necklace, I'll show you the necklace. The necklace that went with it.
Oh, wow.
It's here.
That is gorgeous.
So it is, again, all of these are natural by God's earth from the beach. And all I did was weave them together and then painted some gold leaf in some of them.
Oh my goodness.
But that's what I do. I look at items and say, okay, I can create something with it, and yeah, it just starts to come out.
Well, do you have any other pieces that you'd like to share? Because this is our, I mean, the holidays are coming up, so shop local,
Okay.
right? So
Yes, absolutely, shop local. Let's go. Let's do something really. These will be on my website as well. So this piece, there's 2 different necklaces here. So you have just a plain one here, and what it is bike chain.
Oh,
So
seriously?
I've taken the bike chain and opened it up, put a stone in it, and put it back together. So on my website, huh?
I mean, that is just so incredible. And like, who would have thought, right?
Thank you. Thank you. So I have these in, so I have some bracelets. I don't have them right in front of me, but you'll see on my website, you'll see bracelets where they are just a couple strands like that,
Okay.
maybe 5 links on it. So those bracelets, the necklaces, this one I just created last week, and again, it is
That's beautiful.
very, thank you, crocheted, and then there's leather on the opposite side, and then the focal has coils and buttons and some other little beads. But everything, I did make sure that my website is updated, so anything that you would want to purchase is on my website. I do have a few more earrings to put out there, but yeah, that's about it. I mean, everything that you see on my wall here is all on my website, which is www.rissasartisticdesign.com.
I was going to say, yeah, please shamelessly plug your site. We want to make sure people know where to go to buy your beautiful designs, and for holidays or for birthday gifts, or yeah, it's gorgeous work.
Any occasion. I even have gift certificates too that I sell.
Oh, lovely. That's awesome.
Yep, I do that.
Well, is there anything else you would like to share about your creative practice, or you know, promoting your work, or?
Yeah, sure. Here in a couple weeks, I have 7 pieces that are going to out in Kansas to a gallery. So I do gallery work. If there's an installation or an exhibition that someone wants to invite me to, I will be happy to show my work there. I'm doing some of everything now. Again, like I said, I started off with it as just jewelry. I'm saying just jewelry, but it's not just jewelry, it's art. So when you see my work, I want people to think about wearable art and having it on display. I just sold a brooch, and the brooch was in a shadow box. And she hangs it on her wall until she gets ready to wear it, and then she puts it on. So think in those terms of, if you have a piece of my work or desire a piece of my work and really want to show it off, put it in a curio box or shadow box, or build a frame for it. And that will employ some of our local craftsmen as well for doing that. But yeah, that's it. I just finished doing a photo shoot, and they were able to purchase photos and wear some of my larger pieces, like my tree branch piece or a large copper piece that I have, wear those in the photo shoots. So I'm trying to do some of everything to keep my clients engaged. And again, go out to my website, see what I'm all about.
And I'll ask you to share your website one more time, and any social media handles that you have that you want to share too.
Sure. Again, it's Rissa's Artistic Design, RISSAS, artisticdesign.com. On Instagram, it is Rissa's _artistic_design. And then again, Facebook is just regular Rissa's Artistic Design. As soon as you start typing in Rissa's, I should pop up right there the first.
Awesome. That is awesome. Well, Clarissa, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and being a part of our new Creative Conversations series. And you know, this time of year, we're hoping to really drive a lot of people to, or inspire a lot of people to purchase local and support our local artists.
Absolutely.
So please visit Clarissa's site and do a lot of shopping.
Yes,
And
please.
we'll share your website on our the Arts Council's social media as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thank you so much, Clarissa, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.